So we're here in Luther, Oklahoma, and I'm sitting down with Mr. Threet from the Threet Filling Station. It's an honor to be here at this landmark now, and I appreciate you having us.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So why don't we get started can you give us a little background about the filling station, kind of how it got started?
Well, originally, my grandpa built this station, and prior to it being a sandstone, the original building was wood structure, but it caught fire and burned down. But 1933, they started building this structure here, and it was finished sometime around 1939. Exactly when in 39, I'm not sure, but we know from newspaper articles that it was completed around 1939. And again, originally, my grandpa, my grandma, Allen Threet Sr. and Alberta Threet, they ran this station. Grandpa passed on in December of 1950, and at that point it was turned over to my Uncle Ulysses, and his wife, Miss Threet, Elizabeth Threet. So,
Who was your teacher, correct?
Who was my teacher, yeah.
And you weren't allowed to call her
Auntie at school.
You had to call her Miss Threet.
Oh, it was always Miss Threet.
Would you get in trouble if you called her that?
Yeah, and Miss Threet had a way of, she wouldn't, back then, you could do the corporal punishment thing, whereas you can't do it today. But Miss Threet, when you got out of line or did something that she disagreed with, she just walk up to you, grab a little piece of skin and twist. And that hurt worse than a spanking. Okay?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but she was very stern, a disciplinarian, but she was a good teacher. She was just a good person, period. So,
right.
Yeah.
And how many grades did she teach?
Well, when I started school, when she started teaching me, it was like second, third grade, because we started school in a segregated school back then. It went up to, she taught us up to around the 6th grade.
Okay.
And then, desegregation kicked in. We moved over to Luther High School, and life was different after that. I had a bunch of students here from Edmond Memorial, and I described this in my conversation with them. I described the service station as a full service station. Mm-hmm. Well, the first question was, what do you mean full service?
Yeah, 'cause they have no idea what that is anymore.
They had no idea about what a full service station was, because back then when you go out and you pump gas, while the gas is pumping, you cleaning the windshields. If air needs to be put in the tire, you do everything. Customer never got out of the car other than, they might want to come in and pay or stuff like that, but they didn't have to do anything out there, nothing.
Right.
So my uncle, he took it over in December. Well, more or less January of 1951 is when he took it over. Okay, because Grandpa had passed on. And that was my Uncle Euless and Miss Threet that took it over. But Uncle Euless himself got sick and passed on in January of 1956.
Oh.
Okay, and so from that point on, Miss Threet ran the service station. She was also a teacher. And she taught in the Luther school system for almost 46 years. So
she was truly doing everything.
Yeah, she was. She really was. And so when she was out, doing that teacher thing, there was someone else she had hired to come in and, run the place while she was gone. Yeah.
And she ran it till 74?
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, it's about that.
And
June or July 74, I don't know which. But
okay, that makes sense. What's your earliest memory of being around the station?
Oh, man. The good thing for me is that, like I said, I started school in a segregated school. So everybody in school looked just like me. When I come home, this was always basically our first stop, because we could come in here, Miss Threet would give us a popsicle, a half a popsicle, But you know, I remember because the building next door used to be a bar, okay, and my dad ran the bar, okay, and so
Was that the Brown Bomber?
that's the Brown Bomber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which was it named after Joe Louis?
It was named after Joe Louis.
Okay. That's really cool.
Yeah. I'm not a bar person, but we're going to restore it, but it's going to be restored as a restaurant. And
Okay.
it will be the Brown Bomber Bar and Grill. I mean, we already got the name, so we don't want to get away from
Right.
what,
I'm gonna keep the
what
history.
it was. Correct. So yeah, we're once we get everything squared away here financially, we're going to restore that building next door and turn it back into a restaurant. So yeah.
Wow. That'll be awesome. I can't wait to come back and see it.
Yeah. You know, again, this is it's been a financial strain to get to where we are right now.
Right.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are having that same issue as we've been going, back east on Route 66. A lot of people need help, and it's nice to see that a place like this that really deserves to have it. I mean, that is getting help.
My aunt, Miss Three, my wife and I, we became her caregiver. Okay.
Okay.
And so at one point, I had to actually literally move in to take care of her, because I came up here one morning and there was burnt paper on the stove back there. And I said, okay, Miss Three, that's it.
Yeah.
It stops. You don't cook for yourself anymore. You don't do anything. I'll take care of everything. But imagine telling that or saying that to someone who has lived by themselves for over 50 years, who is very independent.
Very independent woman.
Very independent. And so you can't just come out and say, don't do anything.
Yeah,
okay?
that's a really hard habit to break.
There are limits to what you can say and do. I mean, she listened to me. She understood. She knew why I said that to her. Okay, because that's my auntie. And besides that, my mom had passed on in December of '03. But before she did, she told me, "You take care of Miss Three. You look after her." Okay. So mom said, "Do something."
You're gonna do it.
You do it. And again, I grew up a mama's boy, so to speak. So like I said, I literally moved in with her.
What I was wondering too, this isn't just a filling station or a restaurant. It really truly was a safe haven, correct? For people traveling.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, could you explain what kinds of struggles maybe people were going through or would tell you about when they stopped here?
We didn't have a lot of negatives on this property, okay? Because, like I said, Grandpa had, like I said, that written rule, unwritten rule. People that came here, they were always, by and large, respectful, okay? We just didn't have a lot of trouble like that. I've never heard my cousins say anything that indicated that, people would do some negative stuff. Now, that was then, okay? So now, we've had cases of vandalism, I'm real familiar with this area here, okay?
Right.
And so right across the street and this was just recently, as in 2 days ago, somebody dumped a dead deer right across the street, okay? I know how deer travel. I know where deer cross the street at, okay?
Right.
Never here, never. It just didn't happen. On the side of the building, there were people that back in the day, because this is sandstone, they would scratch images, they wrote their names. And when we went through that process of restoring the building, we were told by the Historical Society, do not try to fix that. Don't cover it up, because that's a part of this building's history, okay?
Right.
And so somebody decided to come along and write Hot Wheels on the side of the building and dated it, okay? A lady decided to put her name on the side of the building, okay? I said, no, see, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know why people do that.
Stuff like that, okay? But again, no, we don't have a lot of problems, man.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, it tells you
you.
how special this place is. I mean, it's safe and everybody's respectful, and that's the
Yeah.
way it should be.
I have neighbors, when something is out of place up here, when somebody just parked up here too long, I'll get a phone call.
They take care of
Yeah,
when they're
Ed,
gone.
you need to
That's
go
good.
up there and do this and this, so on and so forth. So, yeah.
Well, that's nice too, to have great neighbors. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's
yeah,
a great thing to have.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask you is, with the Route 66 Centennial this year, how is that contributing to the Threet Filling Station legacy, and how is it going to extend it, do you think?
The more people that come, like yourself and your mom, and I have the opportunity just to sit down and talk to you and tell you the story of this place, I look at that as, like I said, I'm creating ambassadors.
Absolutely.
Somebody that knows something about this place.
Absolutely.
And as you go down the road, you can talk about it and share it with somebody else. See, I've had people from Australia, I've had people from Germany, I've had people from the United Kingdom that come through here. Okay, so I'm creating ambassadors. That's why I take time to visit with people, to be approachable, okay? And just, you're not gonna have a problem talking about me to somebody else, because
No, yeah.
I'm going to be nice to you, I'm going to be respectful of you, and that's just the way it is. Because, back in the day, when during that Jim Crow era, when, people of color, this was a safe haven. Like I said, they could come here, not just here, but they could go to the building next door, which was the bar. And as adults do, when they're drinking, they get a little tipsy, okay? And so when that happens, you don't have to drive off of here. Don't drive. People will park out back, because we got 150 acres here. Okay, so
wow.
yeah, so they will park out back, sleep it off, get up the next day, and go on about their business, and not try. You don't drive drunk. Okay.
No.
Not when you got sundown towns to the left, you got sundown towns to the
Yeah,
right.
especially in the era. I mean, they're looking
No,
any
yeah.
excuse, especially if you give them one, it's going to be worse.
Right. And so to that extent, because this was a place of, refuge, so to speak, we intend to put a pavilion back out here in the back. We already have it laid out for an RV park out
Oh, no
back.
kidding. That'd be
Okay,
cool.
yeah. So that we don't want this to be like people just come, stop, visit with me, and then going down the
Yeah.
road. We want this
want a
to
whole
be
experience.
Yeah, I call it a daycation. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
you can stay here and enjoy the place, and
That'd be awesome.
yeah.
We're definitely coming back whenever
So that's
it's all done.
what we're working to get going, and you can see out back there also where they've already started the process of removing some trees. Well, see, that's where the baseball diamond used to be.
Okay.
Because my dad had a Negro baseball team.
and they
we-
would come through here, right? And
Oh
stop
yeah,
and
and play baseball games back there.
That's so cool.
We had two baseball fields, one across the street and then one out back. But then, as time passes and things start
Things
to
change,
slow
yeah.
down, we only had the one baseball diamond back there. And so again, trying to get that back in order and stuff.
Oh, that'd be so cool
Yeah,
to add that on too.
My uncle, or I should say, it started with my grandpa. He had a rattlesnake pit, okay, and
You would go hunting for rattlesnakes?
Yes. I remember I don't know, it was almost like a vacation. We would go up to Anadarko, okay, and they would have rattlesnake hunts, okay.
And you went with him?
Yeah, I was just an observer.
Oh, you didn't catch any?
Heck no, man. Heck no.
I'm with you.
No. And so, yeah, they, my dad and whoever would bring the rattlesnakes back and drop them in the pit, and
People come look at them?
It was an attraction.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
so-
another thing to bring people in.
Exactly. That's what it was all about.
Now, are you going to bring the rattlesnake pit back?
Nope. That no.
I don't know. It might be another good attraction.
No, I know, but I think nowadays you got to have a license for exotic animals and stuff like that. But I don't want no rattlesnakes. That's too dangerous, man. Because from a liability standpoint, to have something like that, if somebody got hurt, it just wouldn't be worth it. Too much negative publicity
Right.
around something like that. So I want people
Yeah.
to come out here
Have a
and
positive experience.
enjoy.
Yeah.
And like I said, we playing with the pavilion, the RV park. We have a pond on the place that we intend to expand the pond, and the old home place where Grandpa raised his family at. Now, Grandpa had 11 kids. Okay,
Wow.
I don't know how the heck you can get so many people
So
in a
many
small
people.
in a small space like that. I don't know.
That's
but yeah, so we got walking trails to all of those different locations, and that's the plan. But what I'm started out to say was that I know that there are rattlesnakes around here on the property, and I've thought about just how are we going to protect people, from stuff like
Yeah.
that, and wild boar, wild pigs. I know they're here, and that's one thing. And I had some people come out from Colorado, and we were going on the property, and I told them, I said, look, I have my gun with me, okay? And I'm telling you up front so that you know, because we're going in the woods, and I do not go in these woods without a weapon.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully, everything that sees me runs away, but there's always the possibility.
Right, and you don't
So,
mess around with wild boar or rattlesnakes.
yeah. So again, just trying to be sure that they understood why I had the gun, and I'm not a
Right. Not crazy.
gangster. Yeah. So
I think it's, well, do you have any idea how long it will take till that's all ready?
no, we've had engineers out already, and I got this guy doing clearing the baseball field. So within the next year and a half, I hope to have it done. We hope to have it done, but again, it's all dependent on us being able to generate funds and stuff.
Right.
Because first thing is the restaurant, get it up and running.
I'm really excited to see that.
And anyway, yeah, it just takes money,
Right.
funds,
And
funds,
time and everything. Everything's slow moving, unfortunately. Well, do you have any kids that would be interested in running the place afterwards?
I have a son. He was here, but he had to go back to Iowa to take care of some business up there. I have a daughter. She lives in Indianapolis, but she's helping me, get, doing that software thing and getting all of everything together. I'm making some modifications because of the T-shirts and stuff that we sell, and we want to expand the merchandise here also. Yeah, I'm trying to get my kids involved also. But you see, I literally grew up here, okay? This is home for me.
Right.
My kids basically grew up in Iowa because that's where we were living at, okay? So they don't have that same degree of attachment
Right.
that I have on this property. So, but yeah, slowly,
Yeah.
they're coming around.
Oh
coming
yeah.
around.
They'll get it eventually, and it'd be really special to keep it. You know,
Well,
another generation.
Well, I tell you what though, because our family is so large and we have become fragmented, so to speak, we did have one branch of the family, offsprings. Once their dad passed on, they sold their interest in the property, okay? And they sold it to someone outside the family who turned around and tried to take the entire property from us. Okay, we were in court for over 2 years to get that settled. But what we did, and in a way, it's a very good thing. But what we did was we created Threet Legacy LLC, and we had everyone sign their interest in the property over to the LLC. And we created a covenant that says you can sell your interest to someone else in the family, or you can sell your interest to the LLC.
Okay.
But you can never sell
Right.
outside.
Of the family.
Right.
Yeah.
You just can't do that anymore. And it's all legal, it's all documented, so we know that forever and ever. That's what's going to be. I did a deal with a company called Regeneron. We did for a Black History thing. And one of the themes was about what life was like traveling Highway 66. And that old movie about Highway 66, Get Your Kicks on Route 66. That was meant for you, okay? Because you could literally get your kicks on
Right.
Route 66. I couldn't. Totally different experience, because I couldn't just stop anywhere and get something to eat. I couldn't just stop anywhere and use the bathroom. Me and my parents knew that if we were going to go on a trip, that Mom would cook enough food to get us from point A to point B, okay? If we had to use the bathroom, we knew, and this is, it sounds a little gross, but it's the truth. You take a can with you, because you can't just stop and use the bathroom. You can't assume that it's going to be safe for you to stop on the side of the road and tinkle. You can't make that assumption, because it's a negative assumption, okay? We knew, not just then, but even now, that if you got stopped by the police, there's a certain way that you have to behave, a certain way you have to carry yourself while you're at the police stop, because to do otherwise is to invite trouble, okay? That happened then, that still happens today, okay? A sundown town. Literally, do not let dark catch you in town, because again, you could be disappeared, okay? And so I say to you as a young man that you're blessed.
Extremely.
Okay? You're blessed, okay? Even today, you don't have to concern yourself with where you go, where you stop at, okay? You do not have to concern yourself with that. I do. Anybody that looks like me, they do, okay? We can talk about the Jim Crow era, okay? And we say that, You go back to the 20s, the 30s, 40s, 50s, to 60s, okay? And you say that there is a progression made. You say people's thought processes are different. And in a lot of ways, that's true, okay? But in 2007, I was the mayor of Luther, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I was called the N-word, okay? I was told point blank, don't let dark catch you in town, okay?
Being the mayor.
Being the mayor. Being the mayor, okay? That was in 2007. Things have changed a lot, okay?
Do you think the South still struggles, especially more than other states, or like here in Oklahoma?
Yeah, I do. I think it is distinctly different here, okay? I say that because, you know, I mean, it's a fact. It really is a fact. But life is so much better now, okay? I grew up a mama's boy. Mama told me what I could do, what I couldn't do, what to say, what not to say, okay? My aunt, Miss Three, I know what you will do. I know what you won't do. I know what you better not do,
Right.
okay? When I grew up, this whole 3 mile section here, nothing but black folks, okay? My family still owns 150 acres here because it was just passed down. You keep your land, you keep your land, you keep your land. We know what Grandpa went through to get this
Right.
land, so you keep your land. Whereas that same attitude, and I don't know why, but that same attitude did not exist in a lot of other families because they don't own their property anymore. They either moved away and let it go, somebody paid the taxes on it, tax lien, and got it that way, or they just sold it outright, okay? Not this family. This
I
piece
love
of
that.
property is going to be in this family forever and ever and ever.
That's the way it should be.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, I can talk about what it was like during Jim Crow, and it was terrible. It really was. It's so much better now. I have an event coming up here later on today, and I serve on the Luther Historical Society. I'm a part of that. And there's a lady that's on the board who just happens to be white. And I made a phone call to her because her and her husband have an old car, okay? And the people wanted to see an old car here.
Right.
Okay, I don't have one, okay? So I called her. And I'm glad I did because, again, she's white, her and her husband. And it just goes to what Grandpa would always say. You treat people the way you want to be treated, okay? I personally, we would not be where we are right now in the restoration process here if it weren't for white people, okay? Because Kaiser Bartuli, who used to be with the National Park Service, she was the one that really turned us on to the Route 66 Association. Reese Martin, who is the president of that, the National Trust, okay? They're the ones that tied us into these different places, okay? White people. But they recognize the importance of this being a black-owned service station right here on the corner. That's Lincoln. On the other side of that road is Lincoln County. This is Oklahoma County, okay? Back in the day, you know, people would say, I'm going to the county line.
This is it.
This is the county line right here. Okay, so we were never in the Green Book, but we didn't have to be either because of where we're located at, right on Highway 66.
Oh, yeah.
Word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. It's
Word of
like
mouth is almost the best thing, it seems like.
darn near quicker than the internet. Darn near quicker, so yeah.
This has been just great talking to you and learning so much. All of that didn't happen that long ago, but in my mind, it seems crazy too.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that this place is still here because we need more things like this in America.
There are a lot of things that your mom knows that she's never opened her mouth and said anything to you about. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Family stuff. There's a lot of stuff that grandma and grandpa know. Never opened their mouth and said anything to you about it. So I would encourage you for your own family history to talk to mom, talk to dad, talk to grandma and grandpa, write it down. I spent a mini night right here. There used to be a table right here. I spent a mini night sitting here talking to Miss Street.
Writing stuff down?
No.
Oh, just talking? Okay.
No, I did not document it. I didn't write it down. And I wasn't thinking like that. My mind wasn't.
I know, in the moment you're like, oh, it
like
just
that,
goes and it's gone.
So I say to you, and I've said it to, man, I bet you I've said it to every young person that I've been in front of. Talk to your mom and dad. Talk to grandma and grandpa. Write it down. Document it, because that is your history, your family history. And your family history is a heck of a lot more important to you than my family history is, okay? So I just encourage you to do that.
No, that is good advice.
Man.
I love to hear family stories and family history, but I need to know more.
And I wish, boy, I wish I had written that stuff down. I really do. I really do.
I'm sure a lot of people feel that way.
We've heard stories that, let me say this. I know this because I have paper document that Miss Street wrote. Okay, so Babyface Nelson, okay, passed through here,
No kidding.
and Grandpa found him in the barn. Okay, and he told Grandpa, well, Grandpa had Grandma fix him some breakfast, okay, and bring it to him. And he told Grandpa, when I leave here, don't pay any attention to what direction I go in. No, and when Grandpa came back to get him, he was gone. And see, we've heard those stories, okay, but we would not talk about them because we didn't have documentation to prove it. Well, I have the paperwork to prove it now, okay?
Right.
So, because she wrote it down, and Miss Street, she was, and I tell folks this, she was a hoarder, but that was a good thing because the cash register, we have cash books, we have ledger books that show where they were not lending money, but selling produce on credit. I'm saying, how do you do that? You know, I have all of that stuff, and without her, we wouldn't have it. I have receipts, cash register receipts, all the way back to the 30s. And I'm saying, who keeps that kind of stuff, okay? But she did, you know, and that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a very good thing. Because without her being the way she was, we wouldn't have all of this documentation. Man, I got so much stuff. I had someone wanting to argue with me about this building, okay? And I said, look, I know exactly what you did. I know exactly when you did it. No, you do not have interest in this. You sold it, okay? I have documentation to prove it, okay? So please do not try to challenge me on this, okay? again, all because of her, that I have this paperwork. She kept everything, man. I mean, she kept everything.
That's amazing. That's 1930 something. That's crazy.
Yeah, believe me, I got it. I got it. You know?
Yeah, that is just crazy. And we have an antique store back home, so I see old stuff all the time. We have a cash register actually that we use still that is probably from the 40s that we still cash with. So it's just fun to see stuff like that. And keep it going and keep using it.
My Uncle Euless, he used to be in the military. He was a sergeant. I don't have pants, but I have his jacket. I have his helmet, that old metal thing. I have his canteen. I have a bayonet. All of that stuff, man.
It's history.
Yeah,
you gotta hold on to it.
Yeah.
It's so cool, and it proves that all of that happened.
Yeah, and
really cool.
let me show you this picture here. Both of these pictures here. This is my sister. That's her. Okay, but she's standing next to one of the gas pumps out there. Okay, I got a picture also me standing out there. That's a picture of my family. That's Miss Threet right there, and that's my mom right next to her. There's Grandpa, Richard, Uncle Alonia, Aunt Pearl, there's Aunt Doll. I don't know who them Rugrats there are. Okay, that's like I said. That's Grandpa, and that's Grandma. So Grandma Alberta, she passed on in 1946 is when she passed on, and Grandpa got married again, and this is. We call her Grandma Jones, okay? That's who that is, and again, it's just, everybody sitting around having dinner and stuff together. So it's
so cool.
Her name is Frances. I call her Aunt Doll because that's
just what
where it
everybody
was, So
it seemed like everybody back then always had a nickname. Like my dad talks about his grandparents, and everybody called him something else. It was never their name. Was it your grandpa that everybody? Yeah. So her dad's dad, her grandpa, was named Ronald, but everybody called him Hap because he was happy all. They said he was happy all the time, so they called him Hap. It was just stuff like that. It's funny to learn.
And unless you, there are things that. Your mom, my mom, things that they experienced growing up that they just don't talk about. They just don't. Make mom talk, man.
You gotta start talking, Mom.
No, I got a list of questions from the Historical Society to ask, questions to ask, okay? And there's some of them can be probing sometimes, but unless you ask,
You'll never
Mom
know.
ain't gonna tell you about all of that stuff because again, it really ain't your business.
Yeah.
that's kind of what they say.
But I need to pry.
But again, man, I would seriously encourage you to do that because one day you're going to have your own, okay? And they're gonna want to know about Grandma and Grandpa and so on and so forth, man. So I wish that I had a recorder to record all of the conversations that I had with Miss Street, because not only did she tell me about my family, she told me about her family. And her dad was a lawyer, ended up being a judge. Her brother ended up being an attorney here in Luther, okay? Oh man, it's just, yeah.
This is home.
Talk.
And it always will be. And yeah, it seems like your entire family, I mean, they're so involved. It's just, your family history is extremely interesting to me.
Well, black families had to be as self-sufficient as possible. And it all comes from that Jim Crow era when you can't stop at certain places. So
Right.
we had gardens, okay, where Grandpa grew a lot of crops and stuff. And people have refrigerators, people have places that they can store food now. Well, back in the day, you know, a root cellar, you know, you put food there that carry you through and stuff, man. So yeah, these gas pumps, they're not the original pumps that were here. I found those, and I should have showed it. I'll show you when I get back. I got a picture inside of what they looked like before we restored them and stuff. So, but yeah, we found those in Sapulpa. But down there is where the baseball diamond is going to be at, and got a pavilion right there on the
Right
other
here?
side of that tree line. A little further back is where the RV park is going to be. You know, we don't want to we don't want to take out all of the trees and stuff, though.
Yeah.
You know, so
No, this will be really cool.
yep. I like the contour of the
Yeah.
land. It's not
It's not just flat all the way,
Yeah.
like where we're from.
Scheduled a baseball game with a white team out of Chandler, and we went down there. They never showed, but you know, back then, you know, you just black and white. You couldn't. It was frowned on, man. See, it's like that's something that you will never ever experience. Praise God. At one point, this used to be the first Negro Red Cross station in the nation.
That's
fully
incredible.
staffed by black people. When an elderly person dies, so does a library.
It's very true. But
Okay.
if people do like you say, and hopefully get recordings or
Yeah.
documentation, that
Man,
would
I'm
help.
telling you, write it down.
After speaking with Ed Threet, it gave me a deeper understanding of the historic Threet filling station and its importance to the community. His knowledge and passion for preserving its history made it clear that this site is more than just a building. It's a meaningful part of the past that continues to connect people today. I appreciate Mr. Threet taking the time to share his experiences and insights about the historic Threet filling station in Luther, Oklahoma.